Reports this morning of how animal rights activists not happy with the return of the traditional V&A Waterfront New Year's Eve fireworks display. I did not see any announcement saying that it would be returned, but I do remember last year people who would go to the V&A Waterfront to see in the new year, describing it as underwhelming, a quiet and a colorless New Year's Eve ringing in 2023. Donald Cow is the spokesperson for the V&A Waterfront. So is it confirmed a fireworks display, the traditional New Year's Eve fireworks display, returns to the waterfront this year?
Good morning, Lester, and good morning to your listeners. Yes. So, as you said, visitors are back in large numbers visiting our city. And we've put together an entertainment lineup of top musicians to entertain local and out-of-town visitors. The waterfront is deemed a safe and designated with the necessary permits from the city and SAPs to be able to, at midnight, to mark the crossover into the new year with a reduced sort of 5-minute fireworks display.
Is this a business decision? Because I've spoken to people around about that time, particularly people who run businesses, who have restaurants at the waterfront, saying that with the announcement in 2022 that there would not be the traditional fireworks display, that business was in fact disappointing, with people who would have come to the waterfront not coming because there would not have been this traditional fireworks display.
Correctly, so Lester, in that, there was, we tested some ideas. I think you remember during COVID times when it was very quiet, we did the Light of Hope for 2 years running. And then last year we put on the sort of the reduced, the flares, so to speak. And there was a major disappointment around that. People have asked that, we are the central place. The entertainment lineup is free and it's accessible to everybody from across the city. Folks like coming out there. Of course, we are mindful of the message from the animal welfare groupings, and that's why we reduced the duration when we were going to introduce, when we thought about reintroducing fireworks, to a 5-minute display. Of course, we've also received suggestions. People have said to us, why don't you do drones or use lasers, as seen for some of the major international cities across the world. Now, the references for these are things like, Shanghai, I think in China, put across, it's a sort of a dragon drone display. It's thousands of displays up in the air. These are very expensive productions, which we wouldn't be able to stage. The Sydney fireworks, for example, are some of the largest. These are funded by the city of Sydney as a marketing the waterfront.
Donald, look, for the record, I don't mind a fireworks display. I enjoy them. Of course, I appreciate the concerns of animal lovers, of the animal welfare groupings. What are you doing to mitigate against some people who say it is a disturbance? I'm going to be dealing with stressed animals. This is, of course, as you say, a completely permitted event with all the permits and okays from the city. But is there anything that you are doing to mitigate any disturbance it might cause to some people with pets?
Less unfortunately, there is no such a thing as a silent display. So we've also had that to say, why don't you use silent fireworks? All fireworks produce a bang. That's just the mechanic of creating fireworks. But because this is a timed event, you know what time it's going to happen. It's at midnight. There's a countdown. It's only 5 minutes long. We ask for people to those with pets to take note of that time and the duration, bring their pets indoors, and just to minimize the exposure to the noise.
Tony, thanks so much for calling in. You've been a firm opponent of the V&A fireworks display for some time now.
Many years. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me. What I find particularly distressing is that the waterfront has conveniently ignored the stray, the wild, the bird life, the marine life from the equation of, well, it's only 5 minutes and we're asking people to keep their pets indoors, is the first issue. Secondly, this goes contrary to their statement that they sent to us a couple of years ago, in which they pointed out that they'd heard and heeded the call for responsible entertainment and environmentally aware and environmentally conscious entertainment. Over and above that, they've also had a couple of years to explore other options like drones and skydivers with lights and laser shows, not just a beam of light. And I fully agree that it probably was underwhelming the last couple of years. But they haven't done their homework.
Do you understand?
Cop out to turn back.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know the candle for the V&A Waterfront. I can appreciate, though, also a business owner and several that I've spoken to who operate at the waterfront and saying, well, ever since last year they did not have a fireworks display and business at the waterfront at New Year's Eve, which is usually bustling was non-existent. So this is largely a business decision to try and ramp up energy and excitement to attract people to the waterfront that time of the year.
There are other options. And I personally have sent them links and information for other options that have been used overseas, which are absolutely spectacular, where you have drones, not one drone or two drones, a couple of hundred drones, which, by the way, would also create a business opportunity for up-and-coming drone operators, where they are synchronized and they can look like fireworks just without the noise. So you can have all the splendor of a light display without causing trauma, death, and destruction, as well as polluting the atmosphere. And by the way, another point that is being overlooked is it is said that Cape Town is going to have the hottest and driest summer yet. It only takes one spark to set that mountain alight.
Lindy says this is completely unacceptable. Why would 5 minutes of so-so pleasure for humans warrant the absolute trauma animals go through during fireworks? Despite residents knowing the exact time of the fireworks display, the wild, the feral, and the street animals cannot be protected against this. What does it say about us humans? I will not be supporting the V&A Waterfront and will ask my friends to do so as well, says Lindy. Maria says thunder and lightning in Pretoria and Johannesburg is 10 times louder than fireworks. The people in Cape Town must get a life, says Maria. 021 446 0567. You don't agree with Maria there, do you, Jaco Pieterse, Chief Inspector for the Cape of Good Hope SPCA?
Good morning, Lester, and to your listeners. Well, the SPCA most certainly is disappointed by the V&A Waterfront decision to backtrack on their decision they took in 2020 when they committed that they won't have a firework display again. And further to this, recently, the V&A Waterfront posted this amazing post on Instagram, and they stated that their neighborhood is home to some of their visitors' favorite animals, which include otters, sunfish, sealed birds, and jellyfish. And then also, and I'm going to quote, the V&A reminds their supporters and patrons, and this is what I'm quoting now, don't forget to respect our wildlife. And unfortunately, the V&A Waterfront is not living up to what they promote on social media, because by having a fireworks display, they're definitely not respecting the wildlife that they're promoting. And sadly, in the interview earlier by the representative of the V&A Waterfront, there was no mention of what the V&A Waterfront is doing for the wild animals that live in around the waterfront. There's the Two Oceans Aquarium right on the waterfront property as well that houses thousands of wild animals. And the V&A Waterfront is silent on this issue. And sadly, the SPCA and other organizations receive thousands of calls every year about distressed animals. It includes domestic animals, wild animals. We are the ones that are going to rescue those birds that fly into a building because they are in distress when those loud banging noises go off, seals that injure themselves, other animals running on the freeways. And it just seems like the V&A Waterfront has no regard for these animals. Surely we can
Jaco,
spend this money
take
better.
us back a couple of years. Discussions with the V&A Waterfront. You say that the V&A committed to not continuing into the future with the fireworks display. Was there an actual committing to that? Because I'm looking at a statement from 2022, and this is from the V&A, a statement: considerations on the environmental impact of fireworks display on wildlife and household pets had also influenced our decision to review the New Year's Eve display and look at alternatives. We are taking feedback from the public and continue to look at how we can stage a better way to celebrate the new year. I don't see anything about a commitment there to not continue it in the future. They speak about reviewing it in future. Was there a commitment from the V&A to completely ban the use of fireworks displays at the New Year's Eve events?
There was most definitely a commitment from them that they would not be making use of fireworks again. And the SPCA has, in fact, applauded them for that decision. So there has most definitely been a commitment from their side, and they've now backtracked on that decision.
The V&A says it has the necessary permissions from the City of Cape Town and other authorities involved. Is that the case? Do you know if they do have the necessary permissions?
So this is the interesting part. So yesterday, the SPCA attended a meeting with various departments of the City of Cape Town. And in this meeting, the discussion around the fireworks was that the city does not support fireworks. In fact, the city has not made any designated area for fireworks. And the city has not issued the V&A Waterfront with a permit for fireworks. The city has only issued an event permit, which does not cover fireworks. So yes, the city, the V&A Waterfront apparently has a permit from the South African Police Service to have a fireworks display. But from our understanding is the city is not supporting the fireworks display. They have not issued a permit for it. And therefore, the V&A Waterfront cannot say that the city has issued a permit. And we've also spoken to Alderman J.P. Smith in this regard, and he's confirmed the same. So, but perhaps it's time for the SPCA to take this matter to court and challenge the V&A Waterfront. So we are appealing. If there's any advocates and lawyers listening to the show today, please contact us if you're willing to assist us on a pro bono basis. And let's discuss this matter, and perhaps we should take it to court, because the Constitutional Court in a court case in 2016 ruled that animals are sentient beings and they are protected by law. And what the V&A Waterfront is doing to our wildlife is unacceptable. They are killing our wildlife. They are causing distress to our wildlife. And there's a total disrespect for our wildlife. Seals are protected species. And any person that harasses a seal could face a fine of up to 5 million rand or 5 years imprisonment if they're a first-time offender. And a fireworks display most definitely will be harassing seals. And we are in discussions with a DFSE as well, the relevant department within the government, for them also to get on board and enforce their mandate. But something has to be done. The money can be spent to help starving children and spend better. There is no need for a fireworks display. The city had many years to plan a proper entertainment. The City of Cape Town has a light display that attracts thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people every year, that is successful. Why does the V&A not explore different options?
Jaco, Pieterse, Chief Inspector of the Cape of Good Hope SPCA.